Paul Zaloom. The topic tonight, civil defense. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I'm somewhat of what you might call a civil defense buff. And I've made this highly sophisticated videotape to show you what the United States government is planning for civil defense in the event of a nuclear war. Now, there's only one thing you need to know before you see this tape, and that is that everything in this tape is absolutely true, with the exception of one reference to cheese. Everything else is true, and skeptics can have any information verified by me after the presentation. The United States governmental agency in charge of civil defense is called the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA for short. Now, FEMA also happens to be the name of a Norwegian mountain goat cheese that is very popular in Oslo. FEMA. FEMA is in charge of protecting United States citizens from nuclear weapons detonations, or what the Defense Department has shortened to, NUDETs. Now, in order to protect us from these NUDETs, President Reagan is proposing spending $4.2 billion on FEMA over the next 7 years. Now, FEMA will use those monies to put into effect its plan for the 1980s, Crisis Relocation Planning, or CRP. Now, I suspect they wanted to call it Crisis Relocation and Planning, but decided against it. Crisis Relocation Planning is basically a plan for the mass evacuation of over 2/3 of the population of the United States. Now, FEMA tells us that this mass evacuation would take place during a period of international tensions between the two major superpowers. Now, of course, the United States would try to solve these tensions through peaceful means. But if the tensions between the superpowers reach the boiling point, it is at this time that our president would call for an evacuation. Question, how do we know when to evacuate? Well, you'll hear about it on radio or television, FEMA tells us, or you'll hear your local outdoor warning signal. Now, here are the two types of signals you might hear. Here's the alert or attention signal, which means you should turn on your radio or television and find out what's happening. This is the attack signal. This means our nation is under attack. Take cover immediately, and then turn on your radio or television to find out what's happening. Now, the attack signal would not be used to indicate an evacuation, since a nuclear attack only takes from 7 seconds to 30 minutes to reach our shores. No time for an evacuation under those circumstances. Rather, the alert or attention signal would indicate this evacuation. Question, who evacuates? Well, FEMA tells us that everyone living in cities over 50,000 in population, near major industrial centers, and near military bases and missile sites will be evacuated. Now, the 145 million people that live in these 416 target or risk areas will evacuate to what FEMA calls host areas. Now, the host areas are located in rural parts of the country, and evacuees will stay in public shelters and in private homes. Now, of course, workers involved in key strategic industries will be expected to remain on the job in the risk area and commute back at night to their host area designation. Now, while all this evacuation is going on, your local newspapers will be printing supplements to assist you in the evacuation process. For example, they'll be printing emergency bomb shelter plans, lists of things to take with you when you evacuate, and other suggestions and advice. Now, I've brought some of these newspaper articles with me today, and as you can see, they've already been written. The type is all set. They even have headlines. All the editors need to do is to print them. But I suggest you don't wait for the newspaper to come out to find out what to do. You can find out now by sending away for this free booklet from FEMA, Protection in the Nuclear Age. Let's look at some of the good ideas in Protection in the Nuclear Age. First, before you evacuate, close all window blinds, shades, and drapes. If windows are not fitted with Venetian blinds, cover the inside or outside of the windows with aluminum foil, whitewash, household cleaning powder, or even mud. Now, you're doing this, FEMA says, to help prevent fires from the heat wave of a nuclear explosion. Okay, you've got the fireproof mud on the windows. Question, what about the pets? What do we do with our pets? Well, FEMA says there are no accommodations for your pets in the host area. You should leave them at home, preferably in the basement, with an adequate supply of food and water. My cat would like to recommend this particular brand of cat food. Now, whatever you do, FEMA says, do not let your pets out to fend for themselves while you are gone. Question, what should we take with us when we evacuate? FEMA's answer, all right here on this comprehensive list in protection in the nuclear age. Let's go over the list. First category, clothing and bedding. FEMA says you should take work gloves, work clothes, extra underclothing, outerwear, extra rain gear, extra pair of shoes. Do not bring these shoes. You will not need these shoes. Socks and or stockings, and sleeping bags and or blankets and sheets. Next category, food and utensils. FEMA says, take all the food you can carry. In addition, FEMA says you should take water, a thermos jug, can opener, plastic bags, eating utensils, plastic or paper plates, cups and napkins, matches and candles. Next category, personal safety, sanitation, and medical supplies. FEMA says don't forget your battery-powered radio, flashlight, extra batteries, soap, shaving articles, first aid kit, toilet paper, toothbrush, toothpaste. They left off the floss. I don't know why they left off the floss. Take your floss. Plus, an emergency toilet, trash can, newspapers, towels, prescription medications, and detergent. Next category, tools for constructing a fallout shelter. You should take all these tools, which I'm sure you have in your apartment here in Manhattan: a pickaxe, shovel, saw, hammer, broom, axe, crowbar, nails, screws, screwdriver, and a wrench. Next category, important papers to take with you. FEMA says don't forget your Social Security card, any deeds you might hold, insurance policies, stocks and bonds, your will, of course, and savings account books, and currency and credit cards. Question, what should we not take with us when we evacuate? Well, FEMA says do not take firearms of any kind, alcoholic beverages, or narcotics. Now, you won't need the narcotics in particular because the government is very thoughtfully stockpiling 130,000 pounds of opium at West Point in upstate New York for medical and perhaps recreational use in post-attack America. Question, what about the kids? What do we do with the kids? Well, a perplexing and difficult question indeed, fortunately solved by this marvelous book for children from the government, Your Chance to Live. Yes, this is available from your local government bookstore or from the government printing office. It's used throughout the public school system in the United States. And as you can see, it is copiously illustrated with drawings that are much nicer than mine. Now, inside is a full explanation of nuclear fusion, nuclear fission, complete rundown of how nuclear power works, and the history of nuclear development. For example, here is a charming drawing of Madame Curie lying dead underneath her laboratory table. I'd like to quote briefly from the summary from the kids' book from the government, Your Chance to Live. Fallout radiation is the big danger. If you broil in the hot sun all day, you'll be sorry. If you let yourself be bombarded by gamma rays, you'll be sorrier still. Encourage parents to keep sufficient gas in the tank to get to the community fallout shelter in an emergency. But consider that roads may be blocked and be prepared to get there under your own steam. Nice book for the kids. Get it for them and ask them to read it. I'd like to close with a quote from the FEMA film, also entitled Protection in the Nuclear Age. Take time now to make your own family protection plan. Make your plan practical. Don't wait till you need it. That's too late. Do it now.